Before bat, there was cat. Grisha Stewart studied under the two individuals that created cat protocols and forms what is referred to as bat behavioral adjustment therapy. Cat protocols was like one of the first quasi under threshold protocols. And essentially, the method is that you remove the unpleasant stimulation, and that removes the pressure of the encounter. You're rewarding good behaviors, timing out the removal of the trigger to reward the good behaviors, and thereby reinforcing the dog by removing the trigger. As I've come to know under threshold work and using it with different dogs and figuring out where it's going to work and at what parts of the session it might work. My real opinion is that the real significance of cat protocols is that you are patterning out the introduction of the trigger. And so, thereby patterning out an introduction and then removing it, you're giving the dog the opportunity to regulate. So they might be exhibiting low level signs of etc., but still good behavior. And by removing the trigger, you're able to help the dog with self regulation. It's clearly exposure work as it's introduced to a trigger over and over again. And so the way the protocol is marketed and celebrated, I believe, is kind of inaccurate. Like, we don't truly know what is reinforcing to the animal. I look at reinforcement from a neurobiological perspective, and we can't actually know that the dog is receiving dopamine as the removal of the trigger happens. I don't think that happens, right? Dogs receive dopamine at the anticipation of reward and the reception of the reward. And so I think that if I were just to, you know, say things very firmly without the entire force-free community coming after me, it's inaccurate to say that the removal of the trigger is reinforcing. If you really think about it, like, cat protocols is like a force-free version of NEPOPO, escape training. Difference, if you were to take cat protocols and crank it and throw it on the balance trainer side, you have NEPOPO. But I believe that there's more value in introducing the dog to the trigger so that they can watch the dog, track the dog, realize nothing bad happened, right? If there's a fear element there, if there's anxiety, if there's a lack of exposure there, and then by that dog rehearsing the introduction of the trigger over and over again, it creates tolerance and also helps them regulate if they're feeling some type of way inside, like nervousness, like you're seeing Otis do.